Hello, you are listening to the OmniTalk Retail Fast Five, brought to you in partnership with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, Firework, Trigo, Sezzle, and Silk. All right, Chris. So in headline number 3, in a story that broke last week, which just missed our Fast Five cutoff timing, Instagram will no longer let creators tag products in live streams. According to The Verge, Instagram wrote on a company support page, quote, beginning on March 16th, 2023, you will no longer be able to tag products in live broadcasts on Instagram. This change will help us focus on products and features that provide the most value to our users, end quote. Chris, do you think this is a load of baloney? What's the Meta parent company here thinking about tagging off of live broadcasts for influencers?
Yeah. Oh my God. Like this is why we had to cover this. I mean, I remember finishing last week's show. I was like, oh my God, we forgot to put this in the show. We've got to bring this back next week because I have so many thoughts on this and so many questions. And I'm just going to rattle them off here for you. Number one, doesn't this move push more influencers to TikTok? I think that's something that you have to think is going to happen. Number two, doesn't this play, and this is really important to me too, doesn't this play into the hands of the thesis we've heard from our friends at Firework that what is really at play in the US is shoppable video on a brand's own websites, because the retailers and brands can still partner with influencers on their ads via Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever they want to. That's where the traffic's going anyway, which is probably why Instagram's not getting the value from this effort that they wanted initially. And so the brands can pretty much say F you to Meta in the process of doing that. So you know, and then I think about just like last week, another story that almost made the cut. The Fresh Market announced its plans to make shoppable video a programmatic offering to CPGs in its retail media network. So the next question I have then is, if all that starts to happen across retail media networks in mass, doesn't that mean less ad dollars also for Meta over time? Because if I'm a CPG, wouldn't I want to put my dollars where the traffic is going? And then by the same token, they can still place those ads on TikTok. So I have no idea, absolutely zero idea, how this is a good move for Meta, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, in the long run. It makes no sense to me. In fact, it seems like you're kind of digging your own grave in a lot of ways. All right, I don't
know if I'm 100% on board with you. I still think there's a lot of ad revenue to be earned by Meta from these brands, because they're still going to be buying traffic. I think it's what's really important. And we talked to Firework just to kind of get their thoughts a little bit on this. And I think that one thing's really important to still call out, they're still going to be creating content, because when you're in that social environment, you're still consuming. You still want to consume content from brands. Now, maybe you're not purchasing on there, but I think there's still going to be a consistent stream of revenue from Meta that makes sense to kind of keep the brands involved here, just to drive traffic to that site.
Yep.
Where people are then in a different mindset about purchasing. And so you're absolutely right. It's definitely a better experience for brands to develop that one-to-one, not only data relationship, but also, a buying relationship with their customers on their websites. It gives brands the opportunity for an alternative revenue stream, like you're talking about with the Fresh Market, to be able to have CPGs also be placing content in there. I don't think it's going to go away completely from Instagram. The other thing too, that this is just the devil's advocate in me that's trying to figure out what's going on here at Meta. And I think that I'm curious, how much, so you've been there, Chris, where you've ordered something on Instagram, it never showed up, it was a disaster. Who do you go to? Do you go to Instagram? Do you go to the brand? Who's responsible? And I wonder if Instagram was pause, hold up, we need to figure things out here, because consumers are not having good experiences. Once they have that bad experience the first time, they're less likely to purchase again on Instagram. So I wonder if this is something here where they're kind of trying to figure out how to actually do this successfully and create this new offering, likely in conjunction with some sort of ad buy or something that helps kind of bolster the reason behind creating this content on Instagram. But
that's an interesting point. I want to spend more time on this too, real quick, because that's an interesting point. I think fundamentally what you're seeing here is Meta, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want to call it, is basically saying we're going to do what we do well, and we haven't done this well, and so we're going to go back and focus on authentic social connections amongst people. Right. My question though is that is probably a losing financial proposition when you look at the future relative to where you were before. So my question for you, Ann, when they first announced they were getting out of commerce, and we covered this on the show like 2-3 months ago now, maybe.
Yeah.
You were like, not a big deal. They still have live. I think your exact words were, they still have live stream shopping. The influencers can still promote the products they want on their brands. They'll still get the influencers to the site, which will still get traffic for Instagram, and they'll get the advertising dollars. Are you rethinking that position at all anymore given this announcement? I'm curious.
No, I don't. I still think there's value. I still think there's value in influencers doing live streams, talking about a product and taking you to the brand's website. Like, I think it's all about authenticity in these situations. And if the influencers are telling people, they're driving traffic, like, come to for the drop on Tuesday at this site, we've got all these things happening. Like, I think it makes sense for them to be able to drive people who are, again, in that shopping mindset, who are ready to purchase on site, who are going to ultimately have a better shopping experience because they're participating in the live stream video on the brand site. I think that makes sense to me. There's still money to be made, maybe a little bit less, but I still think there's a lot of money to be made.
Interesting.
These
yeah,
channels.
Interesting. Wow, I 100% disagree, but in the interest of time, we'll move on. I think there's less money for Instagram in that way of doing business in the long run. But all right, headline number 4. Before we get to it, though, this is the part of our podcast where we're going to tell you about another great retail conference that Ann and I are heading to this summer.
I'm not singing this week.
No, you're not? Why not? Oh,
I'm talking. No.
Come on. You can think of a Chicago song, because that's where we're headed, Ann. Get ready, OmniTalk fans, to experience what's next in connected commerce. The Retail Innovation Conference and Expo will feature 2 expos under one roof, 3 co-located conferences, speakers from established businesses like Walmart, General Mills, and Brookfield Properties, and fast-growing disruptors like Liquid Death, Bubble Skincare, and Wasson. That one made me work for it. And the live learning and networking event in Chicago, June 13th through 15th, will also include special programming, unique hands-on attendee experiences, and lots more. Visit omnitalk.rice, that's RICE.events, to learn all about it and get your pass today. Come on, Ann, can't we think of like a Peter Cetera song from like the Karate Kid? I am a man who will fight for your honor.
Oh God, we got to stop this.
Hero.
What does that have to do with anything? Chicago? I was thinking
he was
like
the lead singer of Chicago, right? Am I wrong?
Chicago. Like, isn't there like a Frank Sinatra song or something that's Chicago? I don't know. After my Aerosmith blunder earlier this week, I don't know. I don't even know if I know.
Yeah, Ann tried to, for those listening, Ann tried to call me out on an Aerosmith like reference, and turns out she was incorrect. But anyway, we will move on.